And welcome, guys. Get this audio straight. Anyways, still waiting. Figured to go ahead and start the stream. Anyways, oh, look at that, like magic. What's up with a jet bridge? There it goes. Okay. Nonetheless, let's get connected real quick. Hopefully, we'll be able to catch Hillbilly. I believe he's already landed, but we can still maybe see him. Oh, we might be on top of him. The one gate, of course. That's funny. We could probably move. I don't know how to rotate. Oh, there we go. Oh, then he disconnects. Ever so gently move.
You're not alive.
Well, that didn't mess nothing up. Anyways, guys, welcome to another episode of the Wrong Side Simulations YouTube channel, bringing you the best content from the wrong side of the airplane, the right seat. And as always, my name is Blake, and I am a real-world flight dispatcher, aiming to bring you a little more context to your flight sim viewing experience. And I usually like to be a little more prepared on the sim side of things than this, but it's going to have to do. And we are flying this unique fictional Southwest livery that I am very much a fan of. I think most people probably are. So Southwest, make this an airplane. Hope everybody's doing great out there. This is my first stream back since getting the vid. I'll keep calling it the vid so that hopefully YouTube doesn't tag me with some stupid stuff that they like to do for those types of videos. So we are going to be flying a couple flights on a pilot's life today that should hopefully get us ranked up to senior first officer. And if that happens, then maybe we'll be able to get a job with Delta. I don't know how I've seen some people flying for Delta. It seems like it's the hardest thing in the world to get a damn job with them, which in real life it kind of is. So maybe it's just that realistic. Let's see. Oh, that is good. Just double checking some things on my sim brief real fast. Got the afternoon cocktail going. I gotta catch up to Hillbilly. Our altitude 35, 453. We'll just leave it. We'll try 35. If we don't make it, we don't make it. And we can amend in the air if we get in controlled airspace. This music be going hard. Let's tone that down a little bit. I don't know if y'all can see or not, but my old girl's in the background hanging out with me on today's stream. The ever so loyal, sweetest dog in the world, Bella the fat black lab. Oh shit! I think I sent my bear down a little too hard. It almost foamed over. It's a rookie move. Finally, yeah, no joke. He lives. Debating if I should skip my next flight in APL. Ooh, 4.5 hours. It's more money. That's a long one though. Chase, my friend, how is it going? Might catch the next leg flying Columbus to Midway. Okay, sounds good. Yep, she sure. Well, actually, she is more boxer than she is lab. She is 51% boxer, 49% Labrador Retriever, and then like a little bit of Golden Retriever, something like that. Alright, so let's jump into it. It's taken long enough to get to this point. We're almost 30 minutes behind schedule. So let's get after this thing pretty quick. Battery, ground, power. But, I've been flying a lot of Airbus lately. About to get readjusted to the 7.3 nonsense. Cool. And we're just gonna do everything instant so we can get out here quick. Sweet. So Hillbilly, you want to join? If you want, you got time to join on this one, or you can join the Dallas Love to Albuquerque. It's your choice. Can't make you do anything you don't want to do. But as you see, you got plenty of time. If you like. Ground service, we got that. Let's request the jetway. It is on its way. Cool. So our fuel, I'm going 11.5. And our zero fuel weight is 120, actually 130 even. And I'm gonna go ahead and apologize in advance for all the residual coughing that you will be hearing from the vid. Finally, our screens come alive. So let's start getting those aligned. Da-da-da. I do want to try something real quick. Let's just call up these folks. So I downloaded this little program called the Pmdg Ground Services Switcher, something like that. Gives you the option to select airline, ground services, or ground vehicles or whatever, so I'd like to see if that works. As I've yet to mess with that. Get those screens up and ready. We'll call our initial climb to 5,000. Alrighty. Like, I'm gonna leave. That's funny. Alright, FMC, position of nits. Let's go KLBB. We are here in Lubbock, Texas. Sure, it's hotter than hell. And route Lubbock to Dallas Love. For Southwest 2505 for this leg. Departing off runway 17 left. No departures out of here, but we do have arrivals into Dallas Love. We're going to be on the ILS Yankee 13 left. And the Jeffrey 4 arrival. Henker transition, I guess that's how you would say that. Not really sure. It'll be, we're going to depart on runway heading, then we'll go direct to Henker. So we'll activate that. Let's see, climb. We're going to try 350. From here, got our 0 fuel weight in there. Reserve fuel is going to be 3.4. Cost index. Let's fly a nice smooth 15. We planned this at 35, so we'll go 15 just to try to get a little bit higher. Cruise winds 212 at 27. And outside air temperature is minus 46. At our top of climb. Wish that's gonna get annoying. Let's see. 4-hour takeoff. Temperature's 35 degrees. Altimeter 2985. That's based off of about 30 minutes ago when I planned this flight. So let's go flex 55. We'll do climb dash 1. Take off. Let's go 15. It's going to give us 24, 24, and 26 on the V speeds. Plus 10 gives us 136. I ain't no one. Where the hell's 17 left at? I don't see no 17 left. Oh my god. 17 left is not even 3,000 feet long. Why did I think 17 left? It's definitely 17 right. Would not be able to get off the ground on that. V2 stays the same, so that gives us less work. Cool. Alright, so 17 right. Heading's gonna be 174. Up to 5. Looks good to me. Terrain, traffic. V. Sweet. Get that APU started. Just wondering why all those. Let's recycle this. Zone elevation is 485, so we'll put 500 up here. Cool. I'm just wondering why I'm only getting, why all these aren't lighting up green. What ifs? Gonna do, cool, sweet. It'll be fun to have you on board on this leg. Let me know when you're in. Oh, I see it. Nice. Not seeing any Southwest liveries on these. I have to go install that little thing. Get APU on the bus. I think it's go the right way. Ground services will release these. Actually, we want. Cool. All right, Hillbilly, we are about ready to push. Where are you at in your stage of things? Alright, all that stuff's finally out the way. And we shouldn't have any center tank fuel. We don't. Let's fuel pumps on. And down, let's go seatbelt on. Ba, 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 ba. So we are flying on a pilot's life. Which means we have to do everything correct, otherwise it's gonna ding us. Everything is set up good on there. We need 2 good flights to get to rank up to senior first officer. And then I believe on Thursday I can apply for, actually I don't know what day. I have to go back and look at my contract, see what day I can apply for Delta Airlines. Alright, if I had a checklist for this airplane, I would run it, but I don't. I'm an Airbus dispatcher, not a Boeing dispatcher, so everything I do in this airplane is going to be a little bit discombobulated.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Brakes off.
Drew Stone, what's going on, my friend? Welcome aboard. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along today on this short hop over to Dallas Love, and then we're going to be continuing on to Albuquerque.
Brakes released, here we go. Pushback complete. Park brake, please.
San Diego got another update. Nice. Even though you said nice, Jay. Nice. All right, let's column one, cool. All right, what are we waiting on? Oh, you know what? I wonder if no chocks and stuff are pulled. Yeah, remove. Why ain't we rolling?
Brake set.
Roger that, hillbilly. And Daxter, no sir, I am flying the Pmdg 737NG. I wish they had a max. They will be coming out with a max, I'm pretty sure. Alright, what is this thing doing? Brakes are set.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back.
Now, I will admit, I haven't used the
Brakes off.
this pushback system very much. I did uninstall the toolbar pushback after some
Brakes released.
issues that I've heard in relation to the toolbar pushback. So I always kind of fumble with this. Are we pushing?
Brakes released,
There we
here
go.
we go.
All right, let's start them up. Rotation on the N2, rotation on the N1, looking for oil pressure. We got it. Got Hillbilly Gypsy over there. He's going to be flying along with us.
Roger that. Ready for push straight back.
Well, I said stop.
Release the brakes, please.
This thing is all messed up.
Brakes released.
Thank you. All right, good start on 2. Let's roll number 1. Looking for 22% into. Introduce fuel. .20. Alright, good start on 2, or even 1, on both, whichever way you want to word it. And our trim is just shy of 5. Trim is set. Alright, chart's pulled up. Lubbock traffic southwest 2505 is going to be taxiing over to runway 17 right via Foxtrot, Mike, Lubbock. Should work, yep. Tight little turn. Alright.
Lubbock traffic southwest 2272, state traffic.
This dude's still out there. Yeah, none. Go away. So, as a side note, we also have FS Realistic running in the background. I haven't ran it with this airplane yet, so I'm just kind of curious to see what it auto sets and how it's gonna sound. You might start seeing airplanes shaking around a little bit, that kind of stuff. That's what will be causing all of that. Now let's get a flight controls check in real quick. Full up, full left, full down, and full right. Well, hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening. Nice and hot down here in Orlando, Florida. Seems like it's so hot that there's not much weather flaring up today. How are the sounds? Everybody let me know if the sounds are good, that the sim's not too loud, that kind of stuff. And again, for anybody who's just joining us, I did just get over the vid, so I do have a bit of a residual cough still going on, so apologies in advance for that, and probably sounding a little bit stopped up, that kind of thing. Should have done a single engine taxi. Robbie, this is PC. Definitely PC. Don't think you can get this airplane on Xbox, at least yet. I don't know if they're planning on bringing it to the Xbox. It's a pretty complex airplane. So I'm not sure if the structure system of Xbox can support an airplane like this. EQ, still have your taste and smell? I do. Haven't heard of really anybody losing their taste and smell due to the vid in quite a little while. So I was expecting to keep it. The first time I had it, a long time ago, I did lose my smell and taste. I couldn't taste my Black Rifle coffee, and I huddled up in a corner and I cried. Because at the time I was spending about $100 a month on coffee. Couldn't even taste it. It was the most delicious coffee you'll ever taste. Rebecca, I'm new. Are you in Southwest Airlines? I am, and also welcome aboard to the Wrong Side Simulations channel. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. Everybody, give Rebecca a nice warm welcome. We are flying Southwest. We're flying a fictional livery today. I am a big fan of this livery. I wish Southwest would implement it as a special livery or something. It'd be pretty awesome. But we call ourselves the Wrong Side Simulations channel because we fly from the wrong side of the airplane, the right seat. Often I'll get somebody that pops into the chat and like, ugh, the right seat. Why would you do that? Well, everybody likes to be the captain, right? Everybody in flight sim wants to be the captain. And I used to fly from the right seat all the time before streaming. I had a left-handed fighter throttle that I used, and I did get the Bravo throttle as well as a TCA for my Airbus flying, which, by the way, I am an Airbus flight dispatcher. I specialize in Airbus, so everything's going to seem a little more discombobulated in the Boeing. If I was in the Airbus, we'd be running checklists and flows and briefings and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, welcome to the Wrong Side Simulations channel. We are very happy to have you with us. Alright, let's do one final check with our eyeballs, because I don't really have flows for this airplane, before we get out of here. Overhead panel, just kind of going panel by panel. Actually, what I forgot to do, because the PAX doesn't read the seatbelt sign in the Pmdg, but that seatbelt sign is on. Everything looks correct. So we're going to depart on runway heading 174, V2 plus 10 is 136, climbing to 5,000 feet. Flight directors are on. Let's get that back out. RTO. Let's get the legs page up because we're going to need that. Class 15, RTO is set, trim is set. TARA, believe everything looks good. Let's get the hell out of here. Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2505. Lining up runway 17 right. We'll be exiting the airspace to the east. Love it. Alright. Clear left, clear right. Let's get this show on the road. We got one more flight after this. Gonna once we land in Dallas Love, make a quick turn and head on over to Albuquerque. So we're looking to line up runway heading, which is on our nav display. And there it is, 174. We're already at 50%. They are symmetrical. So now, Toga. Airplane sounds a little different. A little bit of a quartering crosswind from the right side.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up.
Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2272, run up away, 17 right.
Now, on a pilot's life, we cannot exceed 20 degrees of pitch, otherwise it'll ding us for that. Let's nose it down. Let's go VNAV. Heading select. And come on, airplane. Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2505 is clear, runway 17 right, exiting the airspace to the east. And let's get anchor in there. LNAV, we'll keep that climb going up to 11,000. Trim sounds good. Annoying. I'm not the one trimming. I don't know why. It's like a speed trim or something like that. And there's flats 5. Flaps 1. And flaps up.
Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2272, departing 17 right, departure to the east. Lubbock.
And let's go autopilot B. Unable to 80 knots. Okay. And let's keep it up to 35,000 feet as our final. All right. Auto brakes off, gears up, flaps retracted. Bleed packs are set. That's our altitude. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the landing lights now, just because APL reads the landing lights in a kind of a weird way. So if you cut them off right at 10,000 feet, it's going to not read it that way, and then it's going to subtract points for not having the landing lights off below 10,000 feet. I wish they would change that and make it some sort of a buffer, like you turn them off between 9 and 11,000 feet. That way it'll read it correctly. And there's 10,000.
Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2272, clear 17 right, last call. Later.
Lubbock traffic, Southwest 2505 is clear of Lubbock airspace. Everybody have a great day. Lubbock. Sweet.
This aircraft is equipped with onboard Wi-Fi. If you wish to connect to the Wi-Fi, you will be required to pay a small fee. We do offer complimentary in-flight TV kits to our partners. Connect to
Alright,
Wi-Fi
back to the
find out
chat.
more information.
I'm new to you. I already play Flight Simulator. I'm going to subscribe, but I fly the 777-200ER. Okay, sweet. Rebecca, what flight simulator do you fly? Do you fly X-Plane, Prepared, Microsoft Flight Simulator? Which one do you fly? Capability, my smell and taste still ain't 100%. Been on a golly, that's miserable. We are special. Wrong side isn't cool enough to be in our group. That's a group I don't want to be in. Like if I couldn't taste my Corona, I'd be kind of sad. TBH. I get this weird, sweet, metallic taste every now and then. Yeah, I do too. Check your Discord DM, Raja. Oh, okay. This checklist. Yeah, in fact, I saw this on FlightSim.2. I wasn't. There was some. Oh, where's the fuel pumps? Okay, I like this a lot better. The one that I saw had 2 separate sets for fuel pumps. It had one for, I think it was flip-flopped incorrectly too. It was like aft and forward. I don't know. It sounded weird. I felt like it just needed to be fuel pumps on as required, like he has, because you don't always require center tank fuel and all this kind of stuff. It was, I don't know, the one I looked at was weird. So thank you for sending me that. I'm definitely going to practice with this before I start streaming with it, because I don't want to look like a bumbling fool. But thank you. Looks like a pretty good one. 35 Census Club. Rebecca, this flight is, let's see, it's pretty short. 53 minutes from wheels up to wheels down. Total block time is probably going to be around, bad to guess, maybe an hour 5 at most. Standard, about standard transition. Or transition altitude, rather. So the airplane you fly, that's the Captain Sim 777, correct? And if so, because I think that's the only one for this one, are you using any mods with it to overhaul the systems of the airplanes? I know like their systems were using the 747 default systems that came with this. Okay, you got to go to hockey. No worries. I'm not the most consistent with streaming. I've got a girlfriend that demands some time, and also being a flight dispatcher, I work quite a bit. I work 7 days on, 7 days off. So I try, like on my days off, I try to stream. I usually stream for most of the day when I do stream. So if you hit that notification bell button, you'll see when I'm streaming. And I'm usually streaming for quite a while, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to come in and hang out with us. Sometimes I do stream after work. I get off at 7:30 in the morning. So sometimes I am streaming pretty early in the morning. On my days off, I'll be streaming kind of late. I'm about to start a new management position at my airline. So I'm not really sure what that's going to make my schedule be. So there might be some changes here in about a month with that. But nonetheless, I guess the best thing to do is just hit that notification bell. And also, you can join my Discord. The Discord link is in the description. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of us talking about when we're going to do streams. And I'll ask y'all, like, hey, what's a good time for y'all? And I'll base my stream off of that. Like today, I based my stream off of EQ that's in the chat. So he's in dispatch school right now. And he told me he got home around 5 o'clock Eastern time from dispatch school. So I made this stream for 5 o'clock for him. So I like to give y'all some say-so in the Discord, because I do this for y'all, and I just enjoy it. So, well, hockey, that's pretty awesome. Rebecca, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from? I feel like you got to be from the north if you're a hockey player. You're probably tougher than I am. Plus, I'm scrawny arms and a little weak for hockey. Let's see. Climbing out of Columbus now to Midway. Meet you in Dallas. Sounds good. Microsoft Flight Sim 40th Anniversary Edition sounds awesome. I know. I am stoked for that. I kind of hate we're going to have to wait until November, but I guess it's really not that far off. Ohio. Okay. Cool. Just got a couple new hires at my airline who are from Ohio. I think we've got like 5 or 6 folks from Ohio. Travel hockey must be pretty good. Wendy, let's see, retired ATC. I need to get me a computer for this. You should. You should. In fact, if you want to keep your ATC skills going, I'm sure you've heard of Vatsim, where you got lots of folks that instead of flying the airplanes, they do the ATC instead. So you can always do that as well. But yeah, you definitely should. If you're looking for a good computer, if you want lifetime support, good warranties, that kind of stuff, I would highly suggest Jetline Systems. They are based in Tampa. I live in Orlando, so I'm able to go to them, but they also ship computers and that kind of stuff. But They are really good at what they do. Small handful of folks, kind of a boutique for building computers, but they are super down to earth. Awesome people. Anytime I need help with anything, whether something happened that was my fault or like a driver update broke something, all I got to do is call them. I mean, at this point, I've been dealing with them now for about 2 years, and I would consider them friends. And I can, in fact, call their personal cell phone and just be like, hey, man, this is happening. And my buddy Tony over there will remote into my computer and start messing with stuff and get everything fixed for me. I had some pretty big issues with frame rates a while back, like 6 months ago. And Tony jumped in my computer and looked at some stuff and got me all squared away. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend Jetline Systems. And in fact, their logo is on my thumbnail. And they will build you whatever you need with any kind of budget that you're looking for. They are the best that you're going to find, in my opinion, but I'm pretty biased. Jeez, what's your ETA? Got 36 minutes. Well, let's see. 25 minutes is what Atlanta is showing. We're barely going to make that top of climb before it's time to come down. But at least we're making it top of climb. The horizontal wind shear, critical for turbulence. Mod or great for 150 miles. Jay, are you asking me some dispatch weather questions? Is that what you're trying to do? Oh. The horizontal wind shear, critical for turbulence, mod or greater per 150 miles is Jetstream. That's my guess. Let's see. The last flight sim I had was Flight Sim 2000, and thanks for the computer info. You are absolutely welcome. Yeah, that's Flight Sim has come quite a hell of a long way since FS 2000. I think you'd be quite surprised in just how awesome Flight Sim looks, as well as the type of aircraft that we're getting. If you're a big Boeing fan or an Airbus fan or even a McDonnell Douglas fan, we got study level aircraft for this simulator now, as well as you got some really good ones for X-Plane. And see, X-Plane, you've got A340, A310, A300, 737 Classic, NGs, 737 MAX, 75, 76, 777, 74. On Prepared, which is another flight sim platform, got 717. You got pretty much just about anything you're looking for, including business jets as well. You must be signed in under your wife's account by chance. We see that every now and then. A while back, had another person that was signed in under their dad's account. I don't know why it's saying Bubba. That's my dad. Yeah, it might just be signed in under the wrong Google account on YouTube. All right, there is 34 for 35. Once we hit top of climb, we're going to change our altitude, and then we'll go sit in the back and get some views of flat old West Texas. Bottom altitude on the star is 5,000. And then when we start our way down, we'll brief up the approach. Make sure that's squared away in case any controllers jump online. I do know how to fly the 777. It's been a minute. The one that Captain Sim has is not what hardcore simmers like myself would consider a high fidelity or study level airplane. So most of us, like, I have it, but I haven't really messed with it much. I think there are some mods that kind of overhaul the systems of the airplane and make it a little bit more realistic. Because the default 747 systems, being a 7.4 having 4 engines, doesn't really work too well with a 2-engine airplane. So there are some mods that kind of make it a little bit better, but I haven't messed with them because a lot of times those mods break things. At least the last time I did that was when Microsoft Flight Sim was still pretty new. So I've kind of just been waiting for Pmdg 777, which is the maker of this airplane. Pmdg makes very high fidelity, very realistic airplanes, so I've just kind of been waiting for their 777 to come out, which is going to be after the 737-900. So they've made this one, which is the 737-700. Next will be the 737-600, which is a smaller variant, and then will be the 737-8, the 737-900, and then will be the 777. I know a lot of people that are very excited for the 777, including myself. I know how to fly real planes, and I'm only 12. Hey, that's awesome. I've done a little bit of flying of real airplanes in my day as well. I've flown some 172s, some Piper Arrows, some Piper Warriors. I've had the opportunity to fly our training sim at my current airline, flying the Airbus 320 family. That was a lot of fun. I knew a lot about that airplane then, and I came out of that simulator knowing even more. I was given the opportunity to fly it since I had some good fuel planning practices that month at my airline as a dispatcher, and I was able to make a short hop from gate to gate all by myself. It was a lot of fun. And then I also got to fly the Embraer 145 simulator at my last company, and before that I got to fly the CRJ 200 simulator. Good buddy of mine used to be a captain at a regional, so he got me some sim time. Now he's at FedEx, so it would be really nice if he could get me in on a FedEx sim. I would love the 7.5 or the 7.6. So Rebecca, what kind of real airplanes do you know how to fly? What's the old dog doing back there? Looks like she's sleeping well. I've got a big box fan sitting off to the side because it gets pretty hot in here with the computer. So I have to have the fan on for her to stay, otherwise she gets hot and she leaves. Alright, what fix does it have me going to? Oh, I see it. We're past Bunker, Dwight, sorta 280. Adder below 30,000. Adder above 24. So I've got my plates on my company EFB mounted down here by my leg. I was gonna set up the camera to look at the Bravo throttle with the radio stack on top, and then you could also be able to see the EFB with the charts and Flight running in the background. But I needed the box that I set the camera on to elevate the fan for my dog, and my dog is more important than a throttle camera, so she gets the box. Jay, should have known you were going to say MD-11. I would love to fly the MD-11 sim. I know at FedEx they charge roughly $1,000 an hour to fly their sims. We can see Hillbilly right there behind me. Getting ready to start our way down here shortly. After I retired, I thought about going to flight dispatch school, but after 35 years as ATC, I like being retired. Yeah, and don't blame me there. I kind of plan on dying on my dispatch desk. I don't know if I'll ever retire. I'm just not the... I mean, like most of the guys I work with, especially the senior guys, they invest a lot of their money and build up another retirement fund on top of their 401k. Being from the South, as you can hear from my accent, I ain't the smartest person in the world, and investing in stocks and all that kind of stuff is way above my head. I can fly an airplane, I can fly a complex airliner all day long, but when it comes to that fancy stuff, not so much. But I don't know, you should maybe still look into it. It's a super fun job. It's stressful at times, not nearly as stressful as ATC. I got a few friends that actually left dispatch and went to ATC. One's a Miami Tracon, and the other one is Salt Lake Tracon. And they enjoy it more than dispatch, I guess. But far more stressful in ATC than dispatch. But nonetheless, a lot of fun, awesome flight benefits. You get to ride in the cockpit. You get to speak the lingo, be part of the operation, but your head hits the same pillow every night. The pay is really good. Especially like somebody like me, I never finished my degree, and never really had to because of dispatch. And I'm sitting next to folks that have Embry-Riddle aeronautical degrees, and I make more money than they do just because I'm more senior than they are. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's if you like strategizing, which I usually don't about anything in life, but for a job, I don't mind it. We're basically the coach, and the pilots are the quarterbacks. And we exercise operational control with joint responsibility with the pilot in command. And I think you should look into it. If anything gives you something else to do, and you can travel. Now, being that you're a retired controller, I'm sure money's not the biggest issue. And if you really want to travel somewhere, you can buy a ticket. But if you like to travel a lot and you want to ride in the cockpit of any carrier in the U.S., any domestic flight, you can as a dispatcher. You can also commute to work too if you ever want to live that crappy quality of life. I did it for 2.5 years. It's not fun. Let's see. Rebecca? Well, I'm sure you're gone by now, but if not, have a great hockey practice or game, whichever one. I can't remember if you said which, but enjoy. Don't get hurt. Have a good time. Give me those sticks. I like that name. When you call the baggage truck in the fly-by-wire, do the baggages add weight to payload? I gotta remember. I haven't flown the fly-by-wire in a minute since the Phoenix came out. No, I think what adds payload to the airplane is when you click board now and the airplane starts boarding passengers and all that. It's also loading your baggage, so that's what's going to increase your payload. When you call for baggage, like when you call the baggage trucks, that's just going to bring the baggage folks, like the belt loader and the tug, bag carts. It's just going to bring that, and it's just to give you like a visual, like, hey, it looks like we're loading the airplane. But unless you go in and you hit load now, like you request for the OFP, it pulls your payload from SimBrief, and then you hit load or start. It's not going to load any payload onto the airplane until you do that. I've been finding out the power the dispatcher has is wow. Yep, it sure is. The CEO of an airline can go to the dispatcher and say, I want you to tell this airplane to fly this high. And we can tell them no. Nobody, not our direct boss, not the CEO, nobody, but probably the FAA, maybe, could tell us what to do. In fact, I don't think really even the FAA can. I mean, they just enforce the federal aviation regulations. So as long as we're not breaking any FARs, there's not really much that the FAA can tell us. They shouldn't have to. I don't know much of a FAA inspector that would, unless you're doing something unsafe. So for dispatchers, we exercise operational control with joint responsibility, pilot and command. It's called operational control. So myself and the captain are the only two people that have any say-so on the flight. And we both have 50%. So if he wants to make a change, he has to run that by me, and vice versa. If I'm going to make a change, I run that by him as well. It's definitely a team effort. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I live in Memphis. Oh, okay. I'm about to be coming to Memphis later this month. Actually, I believe June 23rd, 24th. One of my best friends lives up there. He's also a pilot and a Part 135 dispatcher. But we're going up there to go see him and his wife. So I'll be in your neck of the woods here pretty soon. I live in Memphis. I'd like to work for FedEx if I could. Oh, you probably... Well, FedEx is tough. So I worked Memphis Center. One of our busiest times is FedEx. Oh, yeah. One of my coworkers, in fact, he's going to be renting the other bedroom as his crash pad here in about the next month. He used to be FedEx Tower before he went dispatch. But as far as getting a job with FedEx in dispatch, it's pretty tough. They love to hire internally. In fact, now my direct boss, she just came from the FedEx GOCC, Global Operations Control Center. But they're tough. Typically, you need to be not throwing bags, but you need to be loading boxes and that kind of stuff, working the ramp for FedEx, something that gets your foot in the door with FedEx to then make that internal transition. I think right before COVID, they hired external for like the first time in years and years and years. I almost went after it. I talked to a dispatcher out there that I know, and it didn't sound much better than where I'm at now, so I didn't pursue it. But then again, the money that I make here doesn't go nearly as far as it does in Memphis either. So, give me those sticks. I don't disclose who I work for. We have privacy policies, social media privacy policies, that kind of stuff. But what I will tell you is I do work in the U.S. And I dispatch for a company that operates all Airbuses. And we will soon not exist, but in a good way. So if you know what that's about, you'll know who I work for. But so the flip side of that is, since we don't operate Boeings, I'm not the most, I know how to fly the Boeing and I can get it going, all that stuff, but as far as flows and checklists and briefings and like the real nit-gritty pilot stuff, I'm not so much in the 737, but put me in an Airbus, I'll impress you a little bit, at least compared to other flight sim streamers. It's a little more structured. Is the name going away? Not sure. That depends on how the shareholders vote on the 30th. If they vote one way, the name will go away, and even the current name of the name that we would be going to could also change. And if it goes the other way, then we just go away altogether, which is what I'm hoping doesn't happen. Asian Boy John. I like that name. That's funny. Yep. It's not hard to figure out. I try to make it that way. You know, and I'm not a pilot, so like it's not as big of a deal if people know who I work for. Now, if I was a pilot, it'd be a little bit different. But I'm not, so. But I do love the airline that I work for. It's a great place to work. A lot of folks have certain the airline has a reputation, I guess, and I understand the reason for that reputation, and to some extent I agree, just because sometimes my butt hurts in our seats. The old seats though, our new interior is pretty nice, but nonetheless it's a great place to work, great people, worked there. Yeah. If anybody's looking for a job in aviation, I would highly recommend my company. You should do another shared cockpit with someone. Asian boy, give me a hint. I'll give you one last hint. Our airplanes are yellow. I do believe in the near future. I don't know if y'all know Shaquille Oatmeal, Captain Shaquille Oatmeal. Good friend of mine, another flight sim streamer, has a much bigger following than I do. But him and I are going to do a shared cockpit at some point. We would like to do it in the Phoenix Airbus. May not be possible. The Phoenix is probably a little too complex for shared. But if anything, we can always do the fly-by-wire. Because I know the flows and the checklists and briefings and stuff, I'm probably going to let him fly, and I'll do all the right seat stuff. I'll let him be cap, and I'll be FO, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's just we gotta get our schedules lined up. Pretty much no. That airline might get bought out, or it might merge with another airline that has animals on their tail. Well, I mean, that's all public. Like Frontier and Spirit may be merging, but JetBlue is trying to buy out Spirit. So JetBlue wants the planes and the crews. They don't really care for the Spirit employees for the most part. Some employees will probably still have a job if they're willing to work in Queens, New York. But if it's voted the other way by the shareholders, then it'll be two companies coming together as one. It'll be the fifth largest. Actually, I think either way it's going to be the fifth largest company, no matter which way it goes. But if Frontier and Spirit merge, then there could be a whole new brand. Frontier may not even keep their brand. They might go to something completely different with a whole new name, whole new brand, whole new everything. New headquarters, all that stuff. They're currently headquartered in Denver. They might move to somewhere in Texas. They might move to somewhere in Florida. The current rumors I've been hearing. So I'm kind of hoping for the Frontier deal because I won't go work in Queens. I'm from a small town in Louisiana. I prefer slow going, a little more space in between houses, friendly type folks, that kind of a thing. And a city that big is probably not going to appease me a whole lot. I have been to New York quite a few times, actually I've been to New York twice. I really enjoyed it. It's a great place to visit and a lot of fun things to do, but I don't think I could live there. The constant sound, like I like when I'm going to sleep at night, I want dark and quiet. I can't do all the lights and the sirens and the horns and all that stuff. Alright, so we are obviously on our way in now. Let's set up the airplane for arrival. Oh god, what'd she say? We got something going on. A woman has fainted. Oh, that's not a big deal. We're going to continue. How do I tell it what to do?
We're to expedite as much as possible. Do we know if there's a doctor on board?
Okay.
She didn't answer my question. So after we prep, I want to talk a little bit about this because we actually see this scenario happen all the time as dispatchers. Alright, let's see. Let's brief the approach real fast. I don't really care about the star, we won't talk about that. Bottom altitude on the star is 5,000, that's all we really care about. Now, actually I have a better way of doing this. Let's go charts. Sweet. Okie doke. Our approach frequency is going to be 111.5. Final approach course is 133. Final approach fix is Nate at 1,900 feet. Our decision heights 200 feet off the ground. Touchdown zone elevation is 485. It's going to be a standard 3-degree glide slope with approach lights, Pappy on the right. If we go miss, we're going to climb to 1,000. And then a climbing left turn to 3,000 on 060 heading. And we'll just box it back around and come back, try again. Unless we get ATC, then we'll let them drive us around. To shoot this approach, we need 200-foot ceilings, half-mile visibility. And let's pull up the current ATIS for Dallas Love. Current weather information echo. Winds are 180 at 18, gusting 3-4. Shit. 7 miles visibility. Few clouds at 6,000. Broken 25. Temperatures 35, dew point 18. Altimeter's 2984. Visual approach runway 13 left is in use. 13 right is closed. So, for this runway, 13 left, we have Heinz runway lights, centerline lights, approach lights, touchdown zone lights, Pappy on the right, 30 degree on the Pappy. It's grooved, RVR's reporting, and from the glide slope, we have 6,282 feet of runway. It's 150 feet wide. Once we touch down, it's going to be a right exit. We'll probably exit at Mach 2, if I had to guess, and then taxi into the ramp. So now, let's get the airplane set up. So what was it? 11.5. Eleven five. Final approach course is 133. That is set. And 200 on the men's. Cool. Alright, 200 on the men's. $200 there. I usually have to do this a little bit sooner in the flight, but I didn't want to bail on the chat. $200. Cool. Alright, lights are on. Condition continuous. Get those wing and wheel well lights on as well. We'll break auto brake RTO, or not RTO, auto brake 2. I think everything else is pretty much set. Alright, vectors after Jeffrey. Sweet. Getting ready to land. I'll get back to you when I spawn in Dallas after I land. Cool. Sounds good, Chase. Have you ever thought about controlling a Vatsim? I have not. I would be terrible at that. I do good just to handle controllers on Vatsim from a flying perspective. Alright, that's going to be a hard turn to Wade's. But if we make that turn now, we're going to be too high. So I guess we'll just try to make that turn as best we can. Or we can expedite our descent. It's definitely gotten a lot greener since we've left West Texas. 13 right's closed, braking immersion. Drew Stone 77. We're friendly. Damn right. What's the flight attendant thing you have? Oh, that is PAX, P-A-C-X. So about this, in real life, if you have a passenger pass out, the pilot will let me know, and then he'll contact a company called MedLink, which is a organization of doctors. So he'll contact MedLink. He'll read off the medical history and different things that are filled out on a form. Flaps 121, what's up, man? Dispatch boss man. No, I ain't. Well, I mean, I guess technically I am like boss man, but not yet. Later on. So yeah, so he'll contact MedLink, read off this form that was filled out by the flight attendants in regards to the passenger that's having the medical issue. Typically, for somebody that's passed out, usually it's just low blood pressure. And I'll listen in as a dispatcher. I listen to the call, and actually, before we jump into this, 2,500 at Wade's. Let's go direct Wade's. Alright, cool. Actually, let's level off at 5. So they read it off. The doctor will take all the medical history into consideration, etc., and then give a medical. Why is this still descending? Give a medical recommendation. Typically, in this case, with low blood sugar, they're just going to give a salty snack and a sweet beverage, and that usually makes them feel better. Maybe lay them flat on their back, legs elevated, give them some oxygen. Usually expedites them to feel a little bit better. If it's something serious, then the dispatcher steps in and we start telling the airplane where to divert to. They divert, we coordinate with that airport, and get the passenger taken care of, and then continue on. Lubbock traffic, southwest 2505, 30 miles to the north. Planning 13 left, Lubbock. Yeah, that sounds right.
Lubbock traffic, southwest 2272, same traffic.
Hillbilly, what's your current speed? I'm going to stay 240 so I don't get too slow for you. Let's see. Microsoft Flight Sim updates scenery. Yes. In fact, they had a USA update today. Supposedly, something with Dallas is supposed to be updated, but we'll see. Maybe we won't see anything. He is boss man now, haha. He's in charge. I am in charge of people. I mean, I will be in charge of people starting July 16th, but I don't really want it seen that way. Like it kind of just sounds a little bit divisive to me. Like I want it, like I'm shoulder to shoulder with my folks, my dispatchers. Never asked them to do anything I wouldn't do, and try to take on the new position with that kind of mindset. But Rio, how's things going, man? Haven't talked to you in a little while. Hope all is good. Hope the sun is good. In Rio, Jay is finishing up his first week of dispatch school. Are you finishing up your first week already? Or are you just halfway through first week? Can't remember. Alright, runway heading is going to be 133. Second week, okay. Man, time goes by fast. This will probably be a challenging approach with the winds. Winds are gusting up to 34 knots. And it's going to be a quartering crosswind as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible, right? But X-Plane 12 is on its way. So I'm curious to see what they're going to bring with that. Maybe they, too, will update scenery and that kind of a thing. In every way. Yeah, it's definitely not as appealing visually. A lot of people prefer X-Plane's flight physics over Microsoft Flight Sims. I have flown some flights into actually Dallas Love in a 737 with winds that are pretty gnarly like this. In fact, not even as strong as this, and I got kicked around like a daggum ragdoll. So I don't really know which one is more realistic, because I've jump seated in airliners with some pretty gusty winds, and yeah, you get bumped around a bit, but it's nothing like X-Plane where you're just like... So I don't know. I might actually lean a little bit more towards Microsoft Flight Sim. Alright, start slowing her down. 130 is approach speed, so we're going to go 140 on the approach speed. When we get down that way. Ooh, hazy layer just loaded in. Dallas Love Field, Southwest 2505, 15 mile final, runway 13 left. Dallas Love. Going to arm the approach. Localizer is captured. Autopilot A. And let's dial it down to 170 until 7 miles. Let's go fix. Dallas / 7 miles. That'll give us a nice range ring. X-Plane isn't going to have... Yeah, I don't know. Probably not, since they don't have... It's not like Microsoft that actually has their own like maps, Bing maps, that kind of thing. And Hillbilly, this is Southwest 2505. We're going to maintain 170 knots till 7 miles.
2500.
Copy 2272.
Waiting for that glide slope to come down. We're going to chill out at 2,500 feet. I didn't anticipate to slow down this fast. Usually the 7.3 doesn't. And we'll go flaps 5. Glide slope's alive.
Love traffic, Southwest 2272, establish on both sides, 212 left. Love.
Burbank to PSC's current route. Is that the 4.5 hour long route, Jay? Phoenix is very good flight physics, especially, I agree. I am in love with the Phoenix airplane. I'm a little biased towards Airbus. I used to be more Boeing than I was Airbus. But not so much anymore, now that I've dispatch Airbuses. Such an awesome airplane. Good luck on landing. Thank you. I'm going to need it. Alright, let's go approach speed. So all of our lights are on. Looking good. Look at that speed tape. It's bouncing around like crazy. 5 mile final. Gotta be careful not to overspeed the flaps. We'll dial down the speed just a little bit. Instead of 10, we'll go 5 knots over VREF. Flaps full. Alright. Gear down, 3 green. Flaps 40. Got the green light. Spoilers are armed. I think we're ready for landing, ladies and gentlemen. And wait till we get a visual on the runway. I can just barely see it out there. There's nothing about haze in the ATIS. Still isn't. So I don't know where this haze layer is coming from. Here we go. Love traffic. Southwest 2505, 3 mile final, runway 18 left. Or 13 left, correction. Dallas Love. I don't know where that 8 came from. I've noticed too, every time I kick off the autopilot, as soon as I move the yoke around, the plane is not in trim in the way it should be. It's always a little bit nose up on the trim.
400.
My speed.
300. Approaching minimum.
And we're high.
Minimums.
Love traffic, Southwest 2272, 5 mile final. Low.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Let's go, let's go. Get her down. Floaty my float. Golly. Oh, that is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Dallas Love traffic southwest 2505, clear runway 13 left. Watch those gusts. It's definitely going to make you float pretty hard.
Copy the way. Looks like a damn dust storm out here.
Pretty much. I couldn't say anything until the last 3 miles. All right, let's clean her up. Oh, that was rough. I want that one back. This will be a quick turn. I want to head over to Albuquerque after this flight. I'm going to hold right here and see if we can watch Hillbilly land. Oh, we just missed it. Damn it. His looked a lot better than mine. He's not that daggone bad. Definitely not going to park right there. There's no jetway.
Love traffic, Southwest 2272, clear 13 left.
You have one more to redeem yourself. Yep, definitely gonna have to. And that was just me trying. Oh, I said jet bridge turns right there. That was just me trying not to slam it for a decent landing rate, which we got, but that wasn't worth it to float that hard. That should have been a go around, in all honesty. Alright, set that parking brake. APU's on. Complete that. Damn, I forgot to kill the strobes. That's going to deduct points. I get so used to seeing everything being, all the light switches being up when they're off, and I think that the strobes are off, but they're not. Alright. APU bleed. And hydraulics. We're just going to stay on APU power for this turn. Not really sure why it's saying jetway inhibit. Oh well. We can turn without without that. Had to go around unauthorized traffic on the runway midway. You can see their livery. That's so awesome. You can't see their livery in X-Plane. Yeah, it just gives everybody the same generic stuff. Alright, so let's submit this report. Definitely lost some points. I don't think it's a whole lot. The strobes is going to deduct 1 or 2 points. Max we can get on this flight is 80. So once this reloads, go to logbook. Yeah, lost a little bit. 99 out of 100 total score. It didn't even ding me for the strobes, but it dings me for the beacon, which I did turn off. I gave the engines a few seconds because I've had issues where I turned the beacon off too fast, and it's like the because it can read the N1%. It can read the N1 percentage, and it'll know if your engines are running. I don't know what N1 constitutes an engine running, but I've had it where I've turned my beacon light off too soon, and it dings against me. And I guess this time I sat too long. I don't know. The engines were off, like the fuel cutoff switches were off for 10 seconds before I hit it. That's kind of stupid. Anyways, we'll take it. 99 out of 100 is not a bad score. Now for our next flight, we're going to be heading on over to Albuquerque. So let's get that planned real quick. Give y'all a better viewing angle than still don't know why it won't let me get the jetway hooked up. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess we'll just do this one instant as well. I don't want to be airborne too long when my girlfriend gets home. She's not feeling very good. She'll probably just lay in bed. So we'll figure it out. Let's see. Jay, man, I appreciate you coming to fly with me on that flight, dude. Nice company to have along. What are you planning on grilling tonight? I had to grill chicken yesterday. So this one's going to be KDAL, KABQ, and move this out the way. Flight 2783. Albuquerque. Some gusty winds out there as well. Not as bad as Dallas. But still a little gusty. We're going to fly a CI-99 on this one. Getting that sim brief loaded up real quick. So our next flight's going to be an hour 23. It wants 380. We're going to be heavy on this one, so let's go a little bit lower than that. Let's go. Let's just do 340. Sounds good, Chase. Let's see. Once I had a really long day of flying. We've done a few long days of flying on the channel. I believe one day we started in Denver, went to Vegas, Albuquerque, Dallas Love, Atlanta, Orlando. And also did the same thing in reverse. Over the entire part of the day, I think we saved about an hour. A little over an hour of flight time going east versus west, going with a tailwind instead of a headwind. Alright, so that's set. Let's disconnect from here. We're going to pre-file Vatsim. That is, a flight plan was found but belongs to someone else. Interesting. Somebody else is flying this right now, apparently. So let's be... Southwest 783 Alpha, stub amend. That is a real world procedure. If you have a call sign conflict like that, you would stub amend the flight. So you would, if it's a 4 number call sign, you would remove, actually I gotta remember this. You would I think what you would do is you get rid of that last digit and make it an A or some other letter. In this case, I got rid of the first digit. That'd be alright. 783 Alpha. Connect. Southwest. 783 Alpha. Cool. Alright, so that sim is set. Let's get Valanta set up. That's set. Let's get our chart set up. Gotta have some charts for your Vatsim flying. Otherwise, they might ask you to do something and you don't know how to do it because you can't see it. Kitty 5. Guess we got somebody controlling. Trying to determine what we'll just ping both the RNAVs. Cool, that is done. Charts, there it is, it's done. Okay, let's jump into here. Let's get our fuel on board. We're just gonna do everything instant so we can get airborne pretty quick. Not gonna mess around with all the pre-flight stuff. Everybody sees pre-flight shit in sim streams. Plane gate fuel is gonna be 16.6. That is on board payload. We're looking at 0 fuel weight of 120.0. So a little bit lighter than our first leg in. And we'll leave all this. I'll release these guys. We don't need that. Alright, so we are in Dallas Love. Heading over to Albuquerque. We are Southwest Airlines 783 Alpha. Departing off runway 13 left. Let's see, let's go to routes. We want the Kitty 5 Halsey transition. From there, Texaco. And then we're back on the arrival. And this is where we gotta decide which RNAV approach do we want. I'm not really sure. Coulter 426. Reckon transition. Which one do I want? And we're gonna do Zulu. And taco. We all like tacos. I like tacos. Activate that. Climb 340 on the cruise and net. 0 fuel weight. 120.0. Reserve fuel 3.4. Again. Cost index CI 99. 198 at 24. And the temperature is minus 43. We're gonna go TO 45. Climb 1 works for me. Let's go flaps 5 with the winds. V2 plus 10 is gonna be 147. Runway heading is in there. We'll swap out these ILS frequencies. On the climb out. Top altitude is 8,000. Might give us something a little different. Flight director, da 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 da. All right, to the chat real quick. Love some tacos. Orlando, Atlanta, Nashville, Midway, D. That's a damn long day of flying. I'm gonna try to fly the fly-by-wire and switch over to Microsoft Flight Sim with a checklist, but I can't seem to find a good tutorial on how to use all the small stuff like EFB. Okay. It's probably because I don't know if what's his name? EasyJet Sim Pilot, he's probably got one on there. You might have to go back a little ways. The EFB has been in the fly-by-wire for quite a while, even though they just updated it. Most folks know how to use it, so there might not be a whole lot of info on that. Chase, good landing, man. Do you know in what case a pilot will use the PTU or is automatic? It is automatic. At my airline, if we do a single-engine taxi, it's going to be off engine 1, and then they'll go to the overhead panel and turn on the electric pump on the yellow hydraulic system, so they get nose wheel steering. In that case, the PTU would activate and the passengers would hear it in the back. Cannot fly with you on this leg only because my simulator crashed. The replay. I have to get my flight plan, load in the game, and set up vPilot. Yeah, that'll take a little while. We're just about ready to go. All right. What we got going on with this? Oh, we got Love Ground. Cool. $21,750. There we go, 750. I want to pause that music real quick and get our our IFR clearance. All right. Hola, Love Ground, Southwest 783 Alpha, looking for IFR over to Albuquerque. And we have info based off the real life ATIS info Foxtrot.
Southwest Dallas ground clearance. I have your IFR clearance here. Alright, you are cleared to Albuquerque Airport via the Kitty 5 departure, holds transition that is filed. Climb via the SID. Expect flight level 340, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is Unicom, and I'm going to have you squawk for now 3403.
Alright, we are cleared to Albuquerque via the Kitty 5. Holds transition, then is filed. We'll climb via the SID, and we'll expect 340, 10 minutes at departure. Departure is Unicom, and squawk 3403 Southwest 783 Alpha.
Southwest 783 Alpha, read back to right, push and start discretion, and contact when ready to taxi.
Push start our own discretion, and we'll contact when ready to taxi Southwest 783 Alpha. Alright, alright, alright. We're not in Austin, Texas, where McConaughey lives, but if we were, that's how we'd be talking. Alright, so we want 3403 on the squawk. 3403. We squawking. Climb via the SID. So on the SID, just make sure. Where you at, holes? There it is. So don't see any constraints other than at or below 6,000 at Dorset, whatever, Hayes, at or above 6,000, and that's really about it. So let's go 6,000 And we should be ready to go. Alright, let's get the overhead up and ready. Do we have center tank fuel? Negative. Center tank pumps will stay off. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I guess we need to get our passengers. 89% on that one. Landing rate of negative 98 on the last one. What's the face? Valana said negative 102. So we got the smooth landing, but we probably had a tail strike in the process. All right, fly career mode. Blah blah blah. Don't care. Yes, yes, cool. Don't care. Don't care.
We're ready to go when you are.
Thank you. Anti-collision light. Da, da, da.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to welcome you aboard our flight.
Now let's see if we can have a better time with this pushback
The larger carry-on items in the overhead bin
than we did
smaller
last time.
items underneath the seat in front of you. Unless you're in a front row, please place all of your items in the opening bin. If you have any trouble finding the location of your carry-on items, please let a flight attendant know.
Wait on this guy to pull the hose.
If the overhead bin is full,
We'll be
after
ready.
the carry-on inside of it, please
Houston
close
Center
the
is
bin
active,
and
but we
courtesy
don't
close
have
the
any
Once all your items
Dallas
are
Center.
away, please clear the aisle and sit down in the seat to allow other passengers to find their seats as well. If you are seated in an emergency exit row, please leave the exit seating responsibilities in the safety card in the seat back in front of you. Please make sure you are willing and able to perform the actions required.
Do you use 737 checklist? If so, do you mind sharing it with me? I don't use one. Jay just sent one. I can put it in the Discord real quick. Let's see, maybe. There we go. Let's see. Where's that Chase at? Alright, Chase, just send it to you in Discord. Cart's pulled. Let's get out of here.
Cabin crew, secure doors for departure.
Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Brakes off.
APL good 34. Alright guys, here we go. Leg number 2.
Brakes released. Here we go.
Do you put an alternate in real life, or do you follow the half-mile, 1,500-foot ceiling rule?
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention
I follow what's called the 1-2-3 rule, which is what is used in real life.
when the seatbelt light is on. Please make sure
Jay,
that the
I'll
seatbelt is fastened low
tell you what
and
that is in
tight
just a
across
sec.
the back. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into one another. Tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle. In the event that the seatbelt light is not on, we suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened in case of unexpected. There are several emergency exits on this aircraft.
What is a wrong?
Take a few moments now to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your
Oh,
nearest
that's
exit
why.
will be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event that the cabin loses pressure and
I pushed the buttons the wrong way.
start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth and secure the elastic band behind your head. Tighten the straps if necessary and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it's safe to remove it.
Let's see.
If the pilot decides to take us for a swim, a fashionable life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between
So, give me those sticks. When you say how much does it cost, how much does what cost? I probably missed what you were talking about.
Flip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle at the front. Pull the straps in tight. To inflate the vest, pull firmly on the red cord only when exiting the aircraft. If your life vest does not inflate automatically, blow into the mouth.
Good start on 2, rolling 1.
Each vest is equipped with a whistle and light.
So Jay, as far as determining an alternate, you use what's called the 1-2-3 rule. I don't know if y'all have talked about that yet in class or not, but the 1-2-3 rule is 1 hour before arrival, 1 hour after arrival, and it's going to be off of your planned arrival, not necessarily the scheduled.
Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors
When in real life dispatch, you'll,
prohibited by law.
because taxi out times are factored in, So that's going to affect your assumed time off the ground. So assumed time off the ground plus time en route will determine your ETA, or not your scheduled time of arrival, but your estimated time of arrival. Big difference. So take your ETA, hour before, hour after, and then if ceilings are below or less than 2,000 feet, ceilings, not sky conditions, but ceilings, so broken or overcast, and then, and or your visibility is less than 3 statute miles, you require an alternate. There are exemptions to that rule that some of the big carriers, we've got Southwest, all the big carriers have the exemption. It's just a fuel saving tactic, but the general rule for if you require an alternate is the 1, 2, 3. 1 hour before and after time of arrival, below 2,000 foot ceilings, and less than 3 statute miles visibility. I'm sure y'all will get to that if y'all haven't already. Okie doke. Engines are started. Let's get those packs back on. APU off. Isolation valve to auto. APU come off. Continuous. And I think we are ready to roll. No, we're not. Wow. Getting way ahead of myself. Come on. There we go. And our trim, 5.5. Sweet. Dallas ground southwest 783, ready taxi.
Southwest 783 Alpha taxi, Southwest 783 Alpha runway 13 left, taxi via Bravo, Mike 6.
Taxi 13 left via Bravo, Mike 6, Southwest 783 Alpha. Alright, we're just going to cut a UE to our left. It'll be Bravo 5, Bravo, Mike 6. The light on? Here we go. Take it. Alright, Rio, man, have a great sleep. We'll talk to you soon.
Note the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
You should purchase Flight Sim Plus sound packs. Only $2 and sounds are so sexy. For sound packs for what? Like what airplanes, or what exactly are the sound packs for?
Ready to go.
And do you use a side stick as a tiller? I do. I still have it mounted down here on the side. Use it as a tiller. I go into menu, Pmdg setup, options, simulation, go to the last page, and you assign your axis to prop 1 axis, and that is for a tiller in the Pmdg only. Alright, let's go. Flight controls, check. Full up, full left, full down, full right. Rudder full left, full right. Flight controls checks good. All the airplanes that they upload for X-Plane 11. Okay. I have to look into it. That's on FlightSim.2? What's that? What is that on? Oh wait, man, we should probably do this. Oh, here comes the runway. Let's get those landing lights on. Clear left, clear on the right. Dallas ground, southwest, 783 Alpha, holding short, 13 left, ready to go.
Southwest 783 Alpha, winds 180 at 15, gusts 28. Frequency change to Unicom approved. Good day.
Over to Unicom. Thanks for your help today. Have a great day. Southwest 7083 Alpha. Over to Uni. Dallas Love traffic. Southwest 783 Alpha. Lining up runway 13 left. Departing on the KD5 departure. Dallas Love.
Dallas forward with the traffic, Skywest 3214, 10 mile final, ILS runway 18 right, forward.
Nobody calling, don't see nobody. Let's get out of here. How did you manage to get the systems to show on the flight controls page? Mine just shows hydraulics. You have to go and find it in the options inside the FMS, like Pmdg options, or just probably under displays or something like that, and it would be in there. Okie dokie smokies. BNAV is armed. Blah blah blah. Probably have that turned on. Let's go. Forward pressure on the yoke.
Airspace alive. 80 knots.
V1.
Rotate.
Release that.
Positive rate of climb.
Yoke pressure. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. Chasing those flight directors. Not going to exceed 20 degrees on the pitch. And we're going to accelerate. Flaps up. Let's go autopilot so we can watch some views. Passing over downtown Dallas right now. Got to have a pretty steep climb gradient coming out of Dallas Love so you can get over all that. I think that's the Galleria or a mall. I can't remember. I used to work at Dallas Love Field for quite a while. Gonna warm up some pizza and get some salad for this movie. Sounds good, Chase. Let's check, see where we're at. Gotta be below 5,000. Looks like we're going to be. Cool, so we are good to continue our climb. Dallas Love traffic southwest 783 Alpha is clear. Runway 13 left, exiting the airspace to the east. Final call, Dallas Love. Alright, let's keep it going. We'll go up to our final 34. I have no ATC online right now. And, hey Fred, I'm going to get to your question in just a sec.
Yep, that's traffic. Got a Cessna 152 about 8 miles to the West Coast Field 2000 VFR southbound.
Alright, let's see. Turn this down a little bit. Can you speak about what the training certification process is like for a dispatcher? I sure can. In fact, I'm obviously a certified dispatcher, but in the chat, You got EQ, who is currently in dispatch school. He is halfway through his second week of training. But the process is pretty straightforward. The process itself is pretty easy. Hey, hang on, guys.
Forward traffic, Skywest 3214, clear runway 18 right over cross runway 18 left at Luna.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 2018 and turn on larger portable electronic devices. This is also
Alright, sorry about that, guys. The girlfriend just got home. Didn't even know she was on her way home. So, the process is straightforward. It's a little difficult, but anybody can do it. So you start off to become a dispatcher. You take it depends on how you take the course. If you take the course in person, it's 5 to 6 weeks. There are options for doing night classes, which will take a little bit longer. Then there's also online training as well, which is kind of done at your own pace. I have another friend of mine down here in Orlando who is planning on doing that. I went to the Institute of Flight Operations and Dispatch, otherwise known as IFOD. Jay is going to Jepson up in Indianapolis. At my school, I think it's done a little bit differently wherever you go. Jay's process has been a little bit different in just the information that they do and when they do it. But for me, at my school, the first 2 weeks is to prepare for what's called the ADX. The ADX is basically the dispatch. Man, I forgot to turn my landing lights off. That's going to take points away. I get distracted talking. That's okay, because this is more important than flight sim. So the first 2 weeks you're prepping for the ADX, which is basically the dispatch version of a pilot's ATP written test. So throughout the first 2 weeks, you're basically got your nose in the books, learning all this pilot stuff. It'll be anything from regulatory things like FARs. It'll be like entering a hold off of a radial, off of VOR or some other nav aid, something like that. It's going to be weather theory. It's going to be weight and balance, performance, stuff like that. So you pretty much got your nose buried into some pretty thick books. The idea is that there's 1,500 questions, and they take a random 75 out of that 1,500 to make your test. You take the test, you pass your ADX with a 70 or above, that is considered passing, and then you're on to the next easier part of training, which is flight planning and aircraft systems. At my school, we used the 737-800 as our aircraft. We would learn about some of the hydraulic systems. And when I say like learn about it, we're talking very general learning, not like the most in-depth training for aircraft systems. But you'll learn like electrical systems, hydraulic systems, pneumatic systems, GPS and capabilities of that nature. And you'll learn flight planning, how to use SID stars, how to use airways, what's the difference between like a jet airway, a Victor airway, or a GPS airway. Just very general stuff. The second part of training, the last 3-4 weeks of training, is probably the easiest, and the biggest part of it is you're prepping for your oral and your practical done with the FAA. So at the very end of training, you'll take an oral practical with an FAA examiner who's, at least mine was a real world American Airlines dispatcher. Just kind of did this on the side. And then you will plan a flight by hand. So you're calculating takeoff and landing performance using a mathematical formula that they teach you and a whiz wheel. The whiz wheel is like a little contraption that helps you do those calculations. Apparently there are aeronautical calculators now too that Jay got one.
Arlington traffic 757.
Didn't even know they existed.
Victor is 10 miles to the northwest, 1700 inbound 16 Arlington.
And then, so you'll use that to do your weight and balance, and then you'll just plan a general route. They might throw in some MELs as well, which is like deferred items on your airplane. Nothing too crazy. You do have an MEL book. It's called Minimum Equipment List. Gives you, it's basically just guidance on anything that's broken. So it might be like static wick. Well, that's a CDL, which is an external part of the airplane. Like the static wick is broken off, and like your TAT probe heater is an op. So you'd go into the MEL and CDL books and see if it's a deferrable item and if you can go with or without it, and so you'll do your flight plan, and the FAA examiner will just kind of review your flight plan, ask you what your thought process was by it. Like, was there weather en route? Were you able to get like over the weather? Did you have to go around the weather? Blah blah blah. Just a very general flight planning process. And then after that, you get your license. Once you have your license and you're older than 23, you can start applying at airlines or other types of dispatch. Like there's Part 135, which is going to be your like supplemental or your charter operations. You got Part 91, which are not required by the FAA to have dispatchers, but I think there are some Part 91 operations that do like to have dispatchers. There are like rotary medevac dispatch operations, but the most popular is airline operations, which is your Part 121 scheduled air carrier operations. Those typically pay the most and have less of a ceiling on your career. You can grow and progress more in your career with the airlines than you can others. And yeah, and then you start, once you probably might have to start at a regional. I went to a small regional, Trans-States Airlines in St. Louis for my first 2 years. Got a little experience there, and then went to my current company. I've been with my current company for a little over 4.5 years, and I just got a promotion like 5 days ago. I will be starting as the dispatch manager here soon, which is cool. It just goes to show that with the airlines, you don't have as much of a ceiling on your career, and you can grow more in your career that way. So EQ, we do domestic and flag. Obviously, as you know, each one has its own type of fuel policy. For us, flag is anything that is 950 nautical miles from the U.S., from the contiguous U.S. So there are some international airports that we go to that are still considered in the domestic fuel policy. But once we get pretty much south of once you get to like Panama and south of Panama, for us, that's where flag fuel policy starts, which is a bit different from our domestic fuel policy. But that is all airline operation specifications type thing. Each airline has their own different procedures and definition of fuel and domestic, or flag and domestic fuel policy. So Fred, I hope that answers your question. It was a little bit long-winded, but basically just find you a dispatch school that's close to you. Go knock out the 5 to 6 weeks of training. Get your license, and then go to an airline. I was talking about it earlier. I don't even have a college degree, and I'm working alongside people that have Embry-Riddle aeronautical degrees, meteorologists, some very qualified people, guys who are also real-life pilots. Not necessarily airline pilots, but they are, they have like private and commercial instrument ratings, that kind of stuff. I'm working with former air traffic controllers. There's a wealth of knowledge all around me, and did not need to get a college degree to get to where I'm at. Each airline's a little bit different too on what they look for when they hire. A lot of them, especially like your major carriers, they're going to focus on some experience. They typically want a minimum of 2 years of experience, preferably some sort of degree, but that's not required. And most of the time too, when you go to interview somewhere, the first thing you'll do is take some sort of a small dispatch test. If you are taking these tests right out of dispatch school, you won't have any problem because it'll be very basic. A lot of the stuff that you use in dispatch school, you don't really use in real life dispatch, so you kind of lose it over time, which makes it hard when you take these dispatch tests when trying to get a job. But if you can't fly for a living, this is definitely the absolute hidden gem of airline jobs. You get to ride in the cockpit. You get to be home every night. You get to make pretty good money. Money varies depending on where you go. But if you get on with a major carrier, you'll be able to survive. You get to be part of the operation. You get to speak the lingo. You and the pilot in command are the only two that have any say-so when it comes to any of the flights. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend looking into it if you're curious about it at all. Jay, have y'all talked about the 1-2-3 rule yet? They kind of mixed in the 1-2-3 rule when we started learning METARs for us, because they taught us what the rule was, and then we learned how to read METARs and TAFs, and then from there they're like, all right, you land at this time, do you require an alternate? And we were using the TAF to determine if we required an alternate or not. Oh yeah, plenty of times. That's kind of the beauty of being a dispatcher, is you don't have to deal with just like the general public. You don't deal with passengers. You don't even deal so much with gate agents and those folks. We, for the most part, will typically just talk to our pilots. Every now and then, we're going to be calling operations at the airports. So there's like an operations office that's almost always staffed during whatever their duty time is, or their like the hours of that station. And if say like I need to make a change to the paperwork and they've already printed it, I'll call them up and like, hey, print the new paperwork. I made this change, or they require an alternate now, so I had to add the alternate. The new fuel load is this. Those guys call the fuelers, that kind of stuff. So for the most part, we just deal with the pilot in command. We don't even talk to first officers. We don't talk to flight attendants. We just want to make sure they're there. If they're there, then the flight's good to go for the most part. So we often have to talk to pilots, and sometimes they'll disagree with how we've planned the flight. Each pilot has been trained. Their training may vary a little bit, and their personal taste of what they like to see, like as far as estimated fuel on landing. Some guys like to see a certain number. Some guys like, I don't care. Like I'll go with whatever. We'll make it work. So sometimes, most of the time, arguments are going to stem from the fuel load, because typically the more gas, the more extra gas that the flight has, the happier the pilots are. But obviously, like, we're kind of stuck between, we got the company that wants us to not put an excess amount of gas, because that means more more money burned for no reason if that fuel is not going to be burned. And then you got the pilots that they want more gas because there's can always be some sort of unforeseen circumstance to happen, and in that event, or if you end up having to deviate more around weather than you anticipated, or something like that, or you may have to go lower for turbulence at higher altitudes. Lower altitude equals a higher fuel burn. There's always these unforeseens that might vary or might happen that you didn't plan on. Conditions that may have changed or might change than what you planned on as a dispatcher. More fuel gives more options to the pilots, but for the most part, it just makes them feel better. So really, the best thing you want to do as a dispatcher is you just want to have that conversation with the pilots. Like, all right, hey, well, this is what I see, because we have more technology, more resources at our like in front of us than they do on their phone, which is typically what they're looking at. Or they might look at their EFB, which has a couple apps like ForeFlight and some other stuff. But we can typically see more, so we want to have that conversation with the crew and or with the pilot in command. Let them know, like, hey, here's what we see. Do you still want the extra gas? And sometimes they'll say yeah. Sometimes They're like, oh, actually, you know what? I didn't know that. Because, like, for example, on your phone, your weather radar is going to show you intensity, but it's not going to show you how tall the weather is. The tops is what we call it. So a lot of times it looks really, really bad on radar, but the tops might actually be at like 25, 30,000 feet. Easily cruise right over that, no problem. So I've had plenty of times in the past where like, hey, I see you routed us right through the weather. I'm like, well, actually, the tops are at 25,000 feet. It just looks really bad on radar, but the tops are very low. Everybody is cruising over it right now. I had a guy go over it a few minutes ago. He reported light chop, not a big deal. And then often they're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, if the tops are that low, then I'm not worried about it. Sweet. And then we just keep the fuel load that we planned. Other times, I've had times where, you know, like say this captain calls and he just came into this airport from the east and the weather was really bad that way, but I've got him routed more coming back to the west to keep him out of some bad stuff. And so sometimes they'll come like, hey man, you know, we just came through that stuff. It was really bad out there. We were bobbing and weaving all around, all kinds of weather. Da da da. Can we get like 1,500 pounds of extra gas? I'm like, well, before we make that decision, it's like I want you to know I've got you routed more to the west. The route that I have you on avoids all that stuff that you just went around on your way in. Do you still want the gas? Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's not much out there. All right, sweet. Yeah, we'll take what you gave us. So a lot of times you can kind of you have that conversation with them. Just tell them what you see, what your thought process was behind it. As long as you have a good reason for everything you do, and you sound mostly educated, not like just a bumbling idiot, a lot of times they'll trust you and they'll go. There have been plenty of times that pilots may have been burned by a dispatcher or something like that, and now they're just like, yeah, you know what? Like the last time a guy told me this, it didn't happen that way. Can I get the extra gas? Sure. Ultimately, it's a teamwork kind of a deal. You don't want to like go making bad blood, because sometimes pilots, if they want to be like smartasses and just do something out of spite, they can do it. Like, oh, you didn't give us enough gas. I think I did. All right, okay, well, whatever. We'll take the gas you gave us, and then they get airborne, and then they might like, let's just say, they could be planned to fly CI, whatever, say CI 15, and they think that they don't have enough gas. Well, just out of spite, they can totally put in CI 15, but then go into managed speed instead of like right now we're flying FMS speed. They could just do this little number and dial it up even more, and they're flying faster, which means they're burning more gas, and they end up landing with less than what they were supposed to land with just to try to prove a point. So you don't really want to kind of try to create those that kind of bad blood. So you typically let them know what I see. If they still want the gas, then by all means take the gas. Also don't want to cause a delay just because we're having some stupid piss test or pissing contest. So let's see. Yeah, kind of METARs, TAFs, and weather charts exam is tomorrow. Gotcha. Okay. I'm sure y'all will dive into the 1, 2, 3 rule even more, because that is something that you use on every single flight that you'll ever dispatch in your career. You always have to check the 1, 2, 3 rule to determine if you need an alternate or not. How do you talk to the pilot in command? Well, often, if they're on the ground, they'll usually just call me. At least at our company, they call the number, they go through some prompts, and they just put in their flight number, and it'll route the call to the correct desk. I usually work desk 26, so I have my phone set up to just ring for phone calls for desk 26. Phone call comes in, and we talk that way. If, say, they're about to push, or like I need to get a hold of them, I can send the message to an airplane, or to the airplane, and be like, hey, forecast changed, we require an alternate, please call me at desk 26. And then he'll call, and we'll talk about what alternate or what maybe the weather's going to be like, if it's really bad, something like that. If they're airborne, we can send them a message just like I did when they're at the gate. Or if I really need to get a hold of them, I contact a company called AirInc. AirInc will then use the cell call code that airplanes have. Every airplane has a different cell call code, and AirInc will use that cell call to get in touch with the pilot, and then he'll patch me in with the pilot, and we'll talk over AirInc. And so we use radio phraseology. So I'll be like, Southwest 783 Alpha, this is dispatch, how do you copy? They'll come back, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, Southwest 783 Alpha, just want to let you know, new forecast in Albuquerque. Forecast calls for quarter mile at ETA. Looking to add Santa Fe as alternate. Over. And then they'll come back, copy that, sounds good, we're good with the weather. What's the amendment? And so then from there, as a dispatcher, like you have your sim brief. This is what's called your OFP. In fact, I think it says OFP on there somewhere. You can tell this is release 02, which means I made a change from release 01. And the change that I made was to bring my altitude to 34,000 feet instead of 38. But anyways, so this is your operational flight plan. Pilots at our company, ours looks a lot like this. So the pilot has this, and now we need to amend that we have like Santa Fe as an alternate. Maybe if I wanted to take it off, we need to amend it. So we're making a change. So he has to annotate that as well as I. That way it can be tracked, and the company and the FAA knows that we made a change. So in the case that we were going to add an alternate, I would say Amendment 1. The time is whatever, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 23:45 Zulu, and my initials are Bravo Romeo. Add alternate of Santa Fe. That's about it. Now, send them the weather, send them the NOTAMs, make sure they know all that stuff. And then they're good to go. And Jay, this is for you. If you're en route and your destination goes below landing minimums, for say, and you don't have the fuel range to add an alternate, what do? And anybody else in the chat, if y'all want to take a guess at that scenario, what do you do if you need an alternate, say you're below landing minimums, and you don't have the fuel range on the airplane, like you're already airborne, you're en route, and you don't have the fuel range to add an alternate, what do you do? Not allowed to talk to FO. We are allowed to talk to the FOs and flight attendants. I don't think I've ever talked to a flight attendant on any of my flights I've dispatched in my life, but I've talked to plenty of FOs. A lot of times the FO will call in, just be like, hey, what do we got? Psycho Manus. That is an awesome name. Well, welcome aboard, Psycho Manus. Thank you for joining the Wrong Side Simulations family. Greatly appreciate having you here. And trick question. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much. In fact, I think we're almost at 200 subscribers now. I think that should be 191. But anyways, it's not a trick question. In fact, it's a question that is often asked in job interviews for dispatch. But it's once you're a dispatcher, it's pretty easy because it's common sense as a dispatcher. But yeah, I've talked to FOs plenty of times. FO will call and give me a heads up on something. Maybe like there's a mechanical issue on the airplane. Sometimes too, like the captain's busy doing something, and they need like a radio closeout to calculate their takeoff and their takeoff performance numbers, that kind of stuff. So I can do that with him or her, do that kind of stuff. So it's just not as much, but I've talked to them. And Jay, that is correct. You are absolutely right. You would divert. If you have the fuel to add an alternate, then you just add the alternate and continue. But if you don't have the fuel, you have to divert. Now, I've actually had to do that once or twice. But yes, that's also correct. Give me those sticks. That is essentially the same thing. And in dispatch school, the verbiage that they would want to hear would be divert to the nearest suitable airport. Well, actually, it doesn't have to be the nearest. As long as you got the fuel range to go somewhere, you're good. Because if you divert to the nearest suitable airport where a safe landing can be made, that would probably mean you might end up having to go to an airport that is not in your what's called C70. which is an operations specification. It's a list of all the approved airports that your airline can go to, whether that be a regular airport, alternate airport, or a fueling airport, provisional airport. It's a list of everywhere you can go. You don't want to land at somewhere that's not in your op specs. And you would prefer to land somewhere that you have scheduled service, because if you have scheduled service, that means you have people there to print the new paperwork for the continuing leg of the flight. You've got fuelers, you've got everything you need to handle your airplane on the ground. So typically you're going to try to divert to probably the nearest on-station airport that you, online station that you can. Now, in my case, I had a flight. Let's see, we'll use Volanta to show, so I can better understand. Cover my face. All right, so I had a flight coming. Oh, that is an ugly line of weather. Yeesh. But there are some flow programs going on. Ooh, that's getting close to Orlando too. This might be hitting my house here soon. I'm about right here. Anyways, I had a flight coming from somewhere in Florida. I can't remember if it was Lauderdale or Orlando, going to Dallas. And there was a lot of weather up in this area, so that initiated a reroute. That was, and the weather that was developing here was not forecasted to. So I did have extra gas. It's because it was summertime and there's always a chance of thunderstorms and that kind of stuff. But the reroute took us, basically we're crossing the Gulf. We reach Leesville, which is down in this area. And then we hook a hard left over to Houston and then up. And that ate up pretty much every bit of extra gas that I had on the airplane. It was quite an extensive reroute. And so we still had enough to continue. But it definitely ate up just about all the extra gas that we had. And the reroute was issued by ATC last minute, which happens pretty often. But as a dispatcher, you gain experience and you kind of know what to look for, and you know their trends and what they might do. And you can plan better for it. But early in your career, it's kind of hard to figure that out. Once the flight attendant's done talking, we'll continue talking about this. Okay, so now, and we got the reroute like as he was still a ways away from Louisiana. So he's about out here. Gets the reroute. I run the numbers, send him the amendment, because we require an amendment for any ATC reroute that is over 100 nautical miles laterally or total distance. So it was definitely over 100 miles laterally. So I sent him the amendment. I got his fuel. He still has a little bit of extra gas, but not much. So then while he's en route, a large isolated thunderstorm just blows up over Dallas. And we have no alternate. We've got enough gas to basically fly the route, have our reserves in a few more minutes. And so as soon as I saw this weather starting to blow up, Dallas started having flights hold that weren't getting in. And I had to make the call. I was like, well, like we technically have the gas, but it's probably not safe because flights are already holding. So if they're holding, they're likely going to be holding whenever we get there. And we don't have fuel to hold, nor do we even have an alternate. So, chatted with the captain, told him my vote is to just go ahead, divert to New Orleans. Weather was good there. It's a straight shot out ahead of us. We got plenty of gas to make it to New Orleans. So we did that, diverted to New Orleans, got gas. By the time we did that, got gas and was ready to go, the weather had pushed out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and we continued on. It was a little bit of a hit on my ego as a dispatcher, but inevitably that kind of stuff will happen. And it's always better to be safe than dangerous, right? So we just made a little tech stop in New Orleans, got our gas, and continued to finish the flight. I think we landed about 45 minutes late, but it's better than not landing at all, right? Right. Let's see. I gotta go. I'll try to come from landing soon. Sounds good. Give me those sticks. If you're still here, I will be putting chapters in as well. That way, when you come back, you can watch the playback if we've already concluded the stream, and you can watch the landing that way. Trying out a new playlist today. Let's see if it's any good. Instructor says always have an alternate. So when your instructor says always have an alternate, does he mean just like a backup plan in mind, or to literally have an alternate on the paperwork? I'm gonna go check on the girlfriend real quick. She's hasn't been feeling good today. I'm gonna be right back, guys. Alright, we are back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go check on old lady. If I don't check on her, she'll get mad at me. Well, I don't know what this instructor's history is, and I don't want to undermine this instructor, but she wouldn't last very long at my company if she did that. Company would be quite displeased, especially if she's putting alternates on VFR airports, like one line TAF. Company wouldn't like that, and it would show in her fuel numbers. And if she was still on probation, she probably wouldn't have a job for very long. As a dispatcher, you have every right to put a alternate on every flight that you want, but it costs the company lots of money in fuel and fuel burn, because if you think about it like this, on average, if you're putting on an alternate and it's costing you an extra 4,000 pounds of gas, that's also 4,000 extra pounds that the plane has to carry, and it's going to reflect in more fuel burn in just the trip burn. So you're burning more gas, you're putting on more gas. Company's not going to like that. So like I say, you have the right, but especially if you're still on probation, and probation lasts a year at my company, if you piss off the company, they're not going to keep you around. So when you go to Republic, don't just go putting on an alternate on everything. Airplanes are very, very capable, especially the Embraer 175. They're very capable. Early in your career, like, you're gonna see like broken at 400, and you're like, oh my god, that's really low. That ain't shit. Ain't nothing. Some places I definitely put a precautionary alternate on every time for that destination, which would be like Cancun, because Cancun always puts scattered at 1500 in their TAP, and inevitably it changes to broken at 1500, which on the 123 rule would require you to have an alternate if you're landing within that time frame. And they do broken it, they do like scattered or broken 1500 for like all day, every single day, never fails. Yeah, yes, that's gonna be your ground school training. I don't know how long. Do you know how long that lasts? We do like 3 to 4 weeks. At my company, I think we're looking to expand that, maybe make it a little bit longer. And probably gonna make OJT longer, because it probably needs to be 3 weeks. A total of 6 weeks for ground school, and OJT is not really quite enough. Southwest is like 6 months. Delta is like 9 months. Yeah, broken is the ceiling. So you've got ceilings and you got sky conditions. So broken, overcast are your ceilings. Few and scattered are your. Oh wow! So when you say 2 months, is that including OJT, or is that just ground school? You may not even know. They may not have told you. Because ground school and OJT are 2 different things. After September, okay. Yes, that would be completing your OJT as well. Yeah, definitely don't go throwing an alternate on every single flight. No matter what company you work for, they're not going to like it. And if you do that, wait until after you're off probation, so then at least the union can fight for you. So I might have a little bit of a line of weather starting to build up this way. Let's see what the surface fronts look like. Now, should be able to tell us if we can expect a line of weather there or not. Alright, so we're looking at this weather here. You know, a while ago we were talking about tops on weather. Usually when I dispatch, I'll toggle my radar on and off, but the main thing I'm caring about for en route flights is going to be the echo tops on the weather. And that's what this is. If we turn on, let's see, vertical composite, now we'll see this is the intensity of the precip. It's pretty intense. It's probably supercells. Go back. But what I care about for en route flights is going to be the echo tops. I don't know how this is supposed to tell me. So like at work, I can hover my mouse over this and it'll tell me tell me what the tops are on this cell. But if I had to guess, this cell right here, you're looking at 50, somewhere between 50 and 60,000 foot tops. Yellow is going to be roughly 40 to 50. Pink's going to be 50 to 60. The lighter green is going to be like lower 30s. Darker green is going to be higher 30s. And then you're going to have like little bits of blue. That's going to be probably 30 and below. So like this stuff, it's pretty isolated for the most part. We should be able to fly around that pretty easily. But my concern as a dispatcher is this going to turn into a line? Because you can already kind of tell it's starting to turn a little bit linear. So what I want to do is I'm going to turn on. I want to turn on my fronts. Surface analysis. Okay, so we got a stationary front. So it's likely that weather may start building along here, but it should stay mostly stationary, hence stationary front. We got a cold front up along this way. If the weather does build this far north, we can expect that weather will probably be somewhat fast moving and be pretty aggressive as far as weather and its intensity goes, being that it's fueled by a cold front. Down here we got a trough, and it's pretty normal to see a trough, especially down in Florida, so we got another one down this way as well. You'll see weather build off the trough, but usually that weather is not going to be the longest lasting, especially down in this direction. Usually you're going to see some thunderstorms throughout early night, and then by later in the evening all this stuff will burn off, kind of rain itself out and be good. These cells are relatively intense. Tops are probably up to around 45,000 feet. As you can see, you got yellow and some dark green. Well, look at that. When you turn on the radar, it definitely looks way worse. But a lot of this stuff is lower altitude. That's the beauty of looking at the echo tops, is you can just look at nothing but the tops. But more than likely, even though you got some lower tops and some of this stuff's pretty broken up, like in this area it's pretty broken. I don't like that song. You probably still wouldn't fly through, at least from here down towards the coast. Probably wouldn't fly through any of this. This stuff looks pretty low all the way through here. Should be able to pick their way through a lot of this stuff. Maybe. But it just depends too on what also ATC has going on. I guarantee you, we'll probably see, if I go to flight radar and turn on all the flights, we'll probably see some picking through this, but you're going to see mostly everybody tunneling along the east coast. So why not take a look? Flight radar. Let's turn on 25,000 down to 41. That's where you're going to find most airliners. And like I said, you're going to have some picking their way through. So you got a few out here. This American guy's going to go through there. But just about everybody is going to funnel along the east coast away from this stuff. Usually we can't plan flights along the coastline here, because there is a massive warning area off the coast. In fact, I think we can even see that if we go to ForeFlight. Yep. So all this blue is warning areas, which is used by the military. So if I wanted to build a flight from like Orlando to I don't know, say Kansas City or something, I wanted to try to come through here to stay away from this weather, I can't really plan to use this. More likely what I would do is plan across the Gulf, and then ATC would probably shortcut them through here if this warning area is cold. If it's hot, can't go through there. And ATC is going to keep us on the fouled route. If it's cold, they'll shortcut us, as you see a lot of these other guys through here. The UPS is going through there. Southwest, but that must be because the warning area is cold. But for most, as you can see, most of these guys are filed across these airways. Let's see, so you can kind of see you got the airway here, another airway here, which would be the Q routes or the Y routes. You got Q100, the Yankee 280, Q102, Yankee 290. If there's weather out here, ATC will close these airways. We won't be able to fly them. We'll have to go inland, and we can't cross over this warning area, so that means we're going to be flying airways coming up and over. If we wanted to go like to, say, New Orleans from Orlando, or even like South Florida, from South Florida it's way faster to just cut across the Yankee Airways or the Q Airways, whichever direction they go. But if these airways are closed, say we got some weather spanning across here, we can't go through the warning, so we got to go up and over. It's a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So what else can we talk about? So fronts are very important, because fronts will kind of indicate what you can expect weather to do. Here you got your isobars. The closer that these are together, typically the stronger the surface winds are. So if we look at KSWO, they're probably going to have some pretty hefty winds. And sure enough, winds are 160 at 18, gusting 2.5. But if we come somewhere out where like the isobars are a bit more spread out, like we don't have hardly anything going on here. So if we look at Evansville, KEBV, probably won't be as bad. Nope, winds are 220 at 8, no gusts. So just as a dispatcher, you can quickly kind of figure out where your surface winds are going to be strong just by looking at how close the isobars are. Then you got a severe turbulent PIREP, which is, we'll see that relatively often in the vicinity of Denver. You get a lot of mountain wave, weird wind stuff going on out there. Winds rolling up and down those mountains. As a dispatcher for a big airline, we don't really care about this because this is a Cessna 210. Obviously, we're a lot bigger than a Cessna 210, and airplanes are a lot like boats in the ocean. Like a rowboat, you're going to feel every little wave, but a cruise ship's not going to feel hardly anything unless you got really big waves. So it's kind of the same thing in airplanes. Let's see. I just looked up the METAR for my arriving airport. I'm gonna find out what that airport is. I can't remember. PSC, right? Yeah, PSC. .230, 14 gusting, 22, 10 miles, overcast 85, 22 on the temp, 04 on the dew point, 30.04. That's not too bad. You'd be alright. I just landed in 34 knot gusts on the flight in. It didn't go well. You'll do better than I did. And what program you guys use for weather? We use WSI Flight Explorer. WSI is the weather provider, and Flight Explorer is the program. Y'all will use Fusion. I'm trying to remember who they use for weather, but Fusion. I had Fusion at Trans-States. Some things I liked a lot better, like you could overlay the SIDS and stars in a much better way than you can what we use. But there were some other things I didn't like. At least at my airline, they couldn't seem to get it to work to where we could just filter out like your own desk's airplanes versus having to see all of our company. So like I would have to go search for my airplanes, whereas Flight Explorer that we have, I can just set it like show me just my flights. That's it. And I can toggle on everybody else if I want to. That's gonna get me a copyright claim. Why is that in there? Is that at the very... Oh, that's on the playlist. Whoops. A little Top Gun in the playlist. We'll change that playlist. Chief, what is up? I always fly Southwest. They are the best. I do love me some Southwest. I fly them relatively often. Depends on where I'm going. Funny story. I was flying from Lauderdale to Orlando on Southwest to come see my girlfriend when we first started dating. And being a dispatcher, I get access to the cockpit. And the flight was wide open. And typically, if the flight's wide open, you just ride in the back. It's not super often that the pilots are just like, hey, you want to come right up here with us? So, because it was wide open in the back, I was planning to ride in the back. And I wasn't dressed in business casual like you typically have to ride in the cockpit. And also, like I like cowboy stuff, right? So I was in Wranglers and boots and like a nice button-down cowboy shirt, that kind of thing. But because I know I was going to be riding in the back, I also drank a little beer. Drank me one Corona while waiting on the flight. So I board the airplane and I go up and talk to the pilots real quick. Like, hey guys, I'm Blake. I'm dispatcher for XYZ company. Got a seat in the back, so I'll be back there. And they were like, oh, you want to come right up here with us? Well, I also had a beard, and you're typically not supposed to have a beard to ride in the cockpit. For pilots cannot have a cockpit at all. But for anybody in the jump seat, it's typically in the op specs on who can and who can't. At my company, you can actually have a beard and ride in the cockpit, but it's pilot's discretion, and they can actually turn you down. And you'll have to go shave if you want to ride. So I told the captain, I was like, hey, yeah, I'd love to ride up here with y'all, but I got a beard. And he was like, I don't care. You want to come ride with us? And I was like, well, also, I drank a beer, so... He's like, oh, yeah, you can't ride up here. Because when you're in the jump seat, you're considered part of the flight crew. So obviously the same 8 hours bottle to throttle kind of thing applies. So I was kind of sad. I wanted to go right up front with them. Southwest guys are usually very nice and a lot of fun to fly with. But I had to pass because I made the decision to have me one drink. I guess let's do 10,000. Let's see. What server? I'm in East Coast, USA. On the Vatsim server. I'm actually glad you asked me that because I forgot I was even on Vatsim. But yeah, we are on the East Coast server. East Coast, USA. But yeah, Southwest is great. They're a great company. They care about their employees. They're a lot of fun. I like the open seating deal. It's pretty cool. As a dispatcher, the other cool thing with Southwest is you board first. And you board first, even before like pre-boarders and that kind of stuff, because you need to go to the cockpit, have a little briefing with the pilots, kind of introduce yourself. If you're going to be riding in the front, they run you through like a little safety brief of like, here's this, here's that, here's how to get out in the case, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So we board first, and then when they're done with a little pre-brief, we go sit in the back, and if they need us to come into the cockpit, they'll come get us, unless the pilot's really cool and just invites you up. So you get to get on first and pick your seat, sit wherever you want. Sometimes I feel kind of bad because like I usually go for row 2. I don't like the bulkhead. I like to have room under my seat to put my feet, and so I usually go row 2 aisle seat, so I can get off pretty quick. I usually feel kind of bad because I'm not a paying passenger, but you know, it is what it is. Perks of the job, I guess. You sound like you're from the South. I am from the South. I'm from a small town in Louisiana. If you've ever seen, what's that show called? Duck Dynasty. I am from where they're from. That gives you any kind of an idea of where I come from. You're from the South as well? Where are you at in the South? I now live in Orlando, Florida, thanks to my job. There's other places I would choose to live, but I don't mind Florida. I like the beach, but I'd kind of rather be in like the true South, where there's better deer hunting and more like outdoorsy stuff to do. Cheaper cost of living. Alright, now that we're starting down, let's brief the approach real quick. Duck Dynasty. So we're planning to land on 2-6. Let's just double check Albuquerque's ATIS. Let's see, weather, 270, 14 gust and 2.5. I think that puts me above you, EQ. Sure does. I got stronger gusts than you do, Jay. Suck it. Let's see, winds 270, 14 gust 2.5, 10 statute miles, clear skies, temperatures 34, dew point -5, altimeter's 2990. Let's get that set up on the standby. Arrivals, expect visual approach runway 26. Alright, and that's what we're planning on. We have 2 RNAV approaches. One looks like it's coming in from the west, and the other one's coming in from the east. So we'll take a look at those real quick, pull up the charts. I have elected for RNAV Zulu. So it transitions onto the approach here at Taco. We're coming from this direction anyways, so that's what we're going to do. On RNAV Yankee, it's coming in from the northwest, so we're going to stick with Zulu. It is an RNAV approach, so there is no ILS frequency. Our final approach course is 259 degrees. Final approach fix is Changa, 7,000 feet. Our decision altitude, now we're doing decision altitude on this one because it's not a precision approach. If we were using a precision approach, it'd be a decision height, which is 390 feet off the ground, but because it's a decision altitude, it will be 57.45. Touchdown zone elevation is 53.55. I don't think I had that set. 53. There we go. 50. Cool. Let's see. We have a standard 3-degree glide slope. We have approach lights, Pappy on the left. If we go mist, we'll climb to 8,000 on a 259 heading, then direct Yanu. To shoot this approach, we need 390-foot ceilings, 1.25 miles visibility. We've got that, so no worries there. Let's see. On runway 26, we have high intensity runway lights, centerline lights, approach lights, Pappy on the left, 3-degree glide slope on the Pappy. It's to the left of the runway. It's grooved. RVR's reporting, and there's no glide slope, so nothing here. Let's see. 4, Pappy does not provide obstacle clearance beyond 3.5 nautical miles. That's good to know. Sweet. So, total usable amount of runway. Actually, there's nothing in this box either. Disregard that. 150 feet wide. Once we land, where's the terminal? It's general aviation. Terminal is here. Sweet. So we'll come in here on 26. We'll try to exit at Alpha 5 and it'll be a straight taxi into the terminal. So again, on that final approach course, it's going to be 259. So we'll get that set. And that's set. We're going to go auto brake 2, and that should conclude our approach briefing. Approach starts at 7,400 feet. So we're going to go down to 74. Terrain will be a factor. Weather's no factor, so we're going to turn our terrain on. And we are still not in any controlled airspace. We'll be making our VFR callouts. Missed approach is going to be flying runway heading, so we'll get that set in there as well. Cool, that's set. Now the last thing we need to do, this is going to be a pain in the ass, is setting our minimums. It's going to be a lot of scrolling. So again, the minimums is going to be 5745. God, it's going to take forever. You know what? So we're just going to do this. We're going to cheat. We're supposed to use Barrow 5745 for the minimums, which is 390 feet off the ground. We're just going to do radio altimeter, because we'll be sitting here forever having to scroll that much. It's cheating. Real life, you would have to scroll. It would go by a lot faster doing it in the real airplane. But we'd be sitting here, we'd be on the ground by the time it's time to land. Or by the time we got done. And 390 set. Cool. Altimeter's 2990. We already set that up. So all we gotta do is hit standard, and that's done. Alright. We're about to pass Coulter, 3 miles. So let's do a quick fuel check, see what our fuel's like. Coulter's supposed to have 8.3 fuel on board, and we've got 8.4. So we're right where we need to be. Nashville, nice. In fact, my company was supposed to move us to Nashville right before COVID happened. They had the building set up, everything. We're actually not, it wasn't Nashville, it was Franklin. That's where we were going to be. Pretty much Nashville. That fell through thanks to COVID, and I was pretty damn pissed because I like Nashville area, and I love country music. Although I like real country, not that bro country stuff. But that's a tangent that I'm not going to get in on because I will go on a tangent. But I am a huge country music fan. I like real stuff. I'm more of like the cowboy western type. I love rodeos. I love cowboy type stuff, ranching, roping and riding, all that good stuff. So Nashville country's not really a lot of that. More of like a Texas country kind of guy. But Franklin is nice. It's very nice. I took my girlfriend to Nashville for her 30th birthday. Right before they actually told us that Nashville is no longer going to be a thing, and we went during peak foliage time as well. So, like, it was beautiful down there. Everything was so orange and red and really pretty. And I told my girlfriend, I was like, if this falls through, I'm going to be super sad. And it did. Go 240, go ahead and slow her down. Albuquerque's kind of a high altitude airport, so you kind of want to account for that. We're going to have less time. We're not going to have the full 10,000 feet from 10,000. So I'm going to go ahead and already be a little slow and be set up for the approach. Always got to stay ahead of the airplane. This looks like it's going to be a bit of a gnarly RNAV. So let's see, if we tap through, it kind of comes, swings around, and then back the other direction, and it's going to be a pretty shallow turn. I mean, just looking at the chart, you can see the terrain is just right there. So it probably would have been smarter to come down to Pilla instead of Taco. So this is what all that bobbing and weaving is. It'd have been like a 90-degree right turn, and then the little whatnot. But it's all good.
Caution, terrain.
Huh.
Caution, terrain.
So let's do this.
Caution, terrain.
Let's stop the descent.
Caution, terrain.
And we're going to climb her back up. Track those spoilers. Just play it safe. In fact, just notice this. Out of nowhere, we're too low. We were just on glide path, and now all of a sudden we're too low. Interesting. Shallow that out. Should clear this terrain, no problem. Level it off. Oh, I know why. Because I went out of VNAV. Almost killed us. Thanks, Jipwiz. We appreciate you. Keeping us alive. Terrain is right there, too. Sorry. Forgot the charts were there. Big thanks to the Jipwiz. Alright, we'll slow her down. Get those spoilers out. And we'll try to record this one. We'll go flaps 1. Albuquerque traffic southwest. Who are we? Southwest 783 Alpha, 5 miles to the southeast on the RNAV Zulu 26 Albuquerque. Alright, let's go ahead and hit approach. And let's keep it coming down.
2500. Caution, terrain.
That is okay.
Caution, terrain.
131, let's go 136.
Caution, terrain.
Gear down, help slow us down. Kind of a cool view.
Up.
Pull up.
Terrain, terrain. Pull
Just-
up.
So we are about 500
Terrain,
feet too
terrain.
low.
Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
Damn
Light
it.
slow. Light slow.
Hit the trim wheel on the Bravo.
Light slow.
I'm not
Light
even sure
slow.
what's happening right now.
Light slow. Light slow. Minimums. Light slow. Light slow. Light slow. Light slow. Light slow. Light slow. Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear.
Going around, I wasn't very happy with that. Didn't seem very safe to me. We're just kind of get our bearings, and we'll get reset up. Albuquerque traffic, southwest 783 Alpha, went around runway 26, gonna get set back up for the approach. Why are you going down, fool? Go up is what I want you to do. I think we're just gonna have to hand fly this shit. This ain't working. We're just gonna fly it by hand and just kind of do our own thing. So give me those sticks. The RNAV approach didn't seem to work very well. So we conducted a go around and we're gonna hand fly the airplane back around ourselves. So autopilot's just not cooperating. I'm sure it's me, but didn't have my lights on either. I can see where we're at in relation to the airport. Pretty much on the downwind. Hopefully this works out. So we're just kind of flying blind.
Caution, terrain. Terrain, terrain, pull up. 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 Glide slope. 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 Glide slope.
Yeah, this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to be flying low,
Glide
slow,
slope.
and dirty
Glide slope.
with gear down and all
Glide
that stuff.
slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Oh,
Glide slope. 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 Glide slope.
shut up.
Glide slope.
I'm actually
Glide
on the
slope.
glide slope and it's telling me glide slope.
Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. $100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Something's kind of up. Just look at look at the nav display in like the direction that the runway's pointing versus us on the center line. It's a little incorrect. Albuquerque traffic, southwest, 783 Alpha, clear runway 26, Albuquerque.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Mexico.
Oh,
The local
that was
time is
awful ugly.
46.
Haven't had an ugly one like that in a minute.
About 93 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the air traffic comes to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when
No.
opening the overhead bins, as items may have been shifted during the flight. We thank you for flying with us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, that was rough. We made it on the ground safe and sound though. Definitely like the RNAV system much better in the Airbus. That one was a little weird. I don't even know what my landing rate was. Oh, and I forgot to turn off record. Valanda shows negative 135. In case the overlay showed something different. Overlay tends to be inaccurate at times. That was a little scary. 116. Okay, that's close. What did you get, Jay? In real life, that would have been a second go around, and probably changed the runway. So I guess you don't want to say what you got. Oh, okay, 164. Hey, 164 is not bad. I mean, anything lower than 200, they say, is smooth. I don't know. If we were real pilots, we wouldn't care about landing rate. We would just care about where we touch down in the touchdown zone. That's what really matters. Hitting the ground at 400 feet per minute won't get you a call from the chief pilot, but floating for 1,500 feet will. No lines into those gates. There we go. Now tomorrow, guys, we're going to stream the Airbus. I am a lot better. Ooh, I tell you what. Let's turn it around real quick. I'm a lot better at the Airbus as far as procedural stuff goes. Briefings, flows, checklists. I even have my checklist textured onto the tray table of the Phoenix. So tomorrow, if you want to see like actual structure and like what Airbus, like what flying is supposed to look and sound like, turn on that notification bell for tomorrow, and we'll do that, and it'll be a lot better. Jay, I guess you got class tomorrow, so 5 o'clock is probably what's best for you, huh? I might stream twice tomorrow. I might do like earlier in the day and then later in the day. Just for you, Jay. I wanted to come to this gate because I saw there's a marshaller. And parking brake set. APU on the bus. Kill the engines. And beacon light. I never did even turn the seatbelt sign on. I really wish TFDI would update this to work with the PMDG and the Airbus seatbelt signs like it's supposed to. 'Cause then I would stop having that issue. Alright. Alright, Jay. So that works. We'll do that. We'll probably get a early stream in tomorrow, flying the Airbus, and then we'll also do a later stream during the day. I've got some new airports that I haven't flown on stream yet. We got Omaha, we've got Buffalo, somewhere in West Virginia. What else? There's a fourth one. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we're gonna do some. We'll do some flying tomorrow at a time that should hopefully work for everybody, whether you're a morning person or not a morning person. Are there military jets? There are. They're not great. If you like military jet stuff, DCS is going to be the simulator that you want to watch. Those are study level fighter jets, whereas the stuff in Microsoft Flight Simulator is kind of bleh. They're just for show, flying fast and like messing around. It's not for any serious kind of flying. Let's request external pit power. We'll do that. I don't know why it keeps telling me jet weight. Oh, now it's coming on. I guess it wants to do it on its own. Sweet. If we were in a Phoenix and we had a cockpit door that could open, we would open the door. But we don't. Alright, so we're on the ground power. So now, let's just go ahead and shut everything off in no particular order. Basically set this airplane to remain overnight. Yes, those are fine. We'll zero these out for the next pilots that would be flying this airplane tomorrow. I think everything else is good. Cool. Well, I guess with that, guys, we'll call it a day. Oh, actually, no, what we need to do is we need to submit our flight report and see if we rank up to a senior first officer. Who knows what that one dinged me on after all that crazy flying on short final. Turned my lights on kind of late, too. Sure, it's not a very good flight. Congratulations, you've been promoted to Senior First Officer. You can view your new contract via the link on the dashboard page. Nice. So, we have now reached a pay rate of $49.42 an hour. It was like 43, I believe. So we're making a little bit more money. I'm also on a flight schedule to where if you complete 10 flights, you get a 25% increase on that flight schedule's payout, which is pretty cool. So thus far we've completed 60 flights for 96.43 hours. And so now we are on the road to Captain. El Capitan. I'm pissed if I need to be a captain just to make it to Delta. But we need 5,000-ish more points. We just got to 5,000 extra points. Now we need 10,000. You earn anywhere between 80 to 100 points per flight, depending on the length of the flight. If it's a long flight, it's 100 points. If it's a shorter flight, 80 points. It takes a little while to build up, so it's going to be a lot of flying. It took us almost 100 hours to get to almost 5,100 points, so probably going to take us another 100 hours of flying. But I guess Southwest doesn't have any long hauls. I was going to say just, set autopilot on a super long flight and go to sleep, but Southwest, I think the longest they're probably going to do is going to be out to Hawaii or something. Now let's check that flight and see how terrible that flight went. Not good. That's one of my lower ones, 95 out of 100. Let's see what my lowest is. Out of curiosity, 93. That's terrible. Ooh, 91. Another 91. 90. Oof. 95. So I've had worse. What did we mess up? Landing lights on before or off before 10,000 feet. Do that one. Max indicated airspeed on final. Oh, we passed that. Sorry. Landing light on below 10,000 feet. Max pitch angle 15 degrees on approach, but that doesn't account for a go around. You can go more than 15 degrees on a go around. Ugh. And again, it got me on the beacon light. What the hell? I turned the beacon light off right after turning off the. Telling you, I don't know how it judges some of this stuff, but it's BS. Anyways, guys, that shall complete today's flying. Tune back in tomorrow for some Airbus action. We're going to throw everything at it, kind of like we did with this one. We're going to do a pilot's life. We're going to do packs. We're going to do the procedures. We're going to do checklists, flows. We're going to do all of it. We'll do some single engine taxi outs, single engine taxi in, depending on how long the taxi is, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna do just about everything I can think of to do. So until tomorrow, guys, I hope y'all have a great night. Hope y'all take care, and until then, we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.